Hi, my name is Kevin Turner. I'm the Strategic Market Manager for Wireless and Telecom at Marmon IEI. I actually got into the industry because of my dad. My dad, Rich Turner, was the VP of Sales for a company called C&M Corporation, which he worked at for a better part of a couple decades. Then he started his own company, Strategic Accounts Marketing, where he was essentially building marketing plans for wiring cable companies and helping to manage key accounts. I followed in his footsteps initially, did connectors and cable assemblies. Then I spent about 15 years doing telecom, selling devices, active, passive devices, as well as power solutions into telecom customers. And Marmon IEI is really a perfect intersection of the two. So I'm able to sell and develop telecom cable for our power customers and our telecom customers. So working for Marmon IEI itself, it's a huge company. I mean, it's a division of Berkshire Hathaway. It's a $12 billion company, but it's very entrepreneurial. Just from the last 2.5 years, I've essentially felt like I'm starting a business from scratch, working with some great leaders, some great teams, and getting excellent feedback, even creating a pitch deck and using it to help acquire companies and do all the like. I wouldn't have been able to do that at any other company. I'm really proud of Trilogy Communications, our first acquisition for telecom. One thing that I've learned, having been here for 2.5 years, and seeing my first acquisition of a company, is that Marmon really doesn't change the company; they invest in them. And Trilogy has done an excellent job of taking the investments we put in the company and growing. They've increased their capacity. They've increased their reputability. They've done a great job, and I'm proud of them. And they've just had one of their best months last month, so they're doing a great job. I wanted to be a math teacher and a basketball coach. And then after a couple of years at UConn, I had some friends tell me I'd probably be pretty good at sales. And Dr. Ahern, one of the marketing professors, had just started a sales certification program at UConn. And so I was in the first class for that. I joined the marketing program. I graduated marketing, and I was able to compete in the National Collegiate Sales Competition in 2003. And I kind of never looked back. It's been 20 years of sales since then. Yes, so I'm in the FMP, so Fault Managed Power Alliance. A quick plug, it's fmpalliance.org. That's relative to Class 4 power and fault managed power solutions. Also the TIA, Telecom Industry Association, it's TR42, and I'm an editor for the customer-owned outside plant standard on 42.1. So Marmon has hundreds of years of experience in harsh environment applications. Our engineering department is second to none. So, relative to any complex application within the markets that we serve, we tend to be an industry leader. And in many applications, when people come to us with their problems that we've already solved. Sure. I'm going to go back to actually a different company. So, I spent 15 years in telecom, and there's a few brands that we used to manufacture. There's Kalis, Transdector, Polyphaser, radio waves, and with Transdector, we had some pretty unique applications for power solutions with the telecom industry. One of which has actually been replaced by Class 4 power. So one of the carriers, not going to name their name, was looking at providing power for DC radios on small cells, and all of the power was AC related. And so they would have a breaker panel, AC disconnect, which we provide, and then they'd have that breaker panel would power everything else on the cell site, including a pretty large PDU, or something called a DC rectifier. We were able to take the AC disconnect, the DC rectifier, all the fiber, and all of the category cable, and we consolidate it into one box. which was still rather large, but a lot smaller than what had previously been there. And that was the entire infrastructure for that cell site. Now, several years later, Class 4 power can do that from 2 kilometers away. You can essentially run a home run cable from a DC power source to power the DC radio without the need for the rectifier. So it's one of the reasons I really wanted to help a cable company develop this application, because that's where the power needs are. Essentially, it's our expertise in engineering. We've got some outstanding engineers. My expertise is not in wiring cable, and luckily it's in the solutions, because our wiring cable engineers, guys like Jerry Martino and Phil Latticina and Alex Marciano, guys that have already been on this series, are well positioned to solve needs, and they've been doing it for decades. Learning every day. I'll give you another 3-word answer, and that is sleep on it. And I'll explain real quick. So, this was something my dad always told me. Usually, your best response is not your first response. Whether you have something that is difficult, something that is complex, something that really upsets you, your best response is to take your time and think about it before you respond, if you respond at all. Sometimes you don't need to. So I could definitely be back in telecom. I'm in telecom now, but I think it kind of goes back to my education background. I could absolutely see myself teaching and coaching. So Marmon IEI is definitely a leader in power solutions. The telecom portion, which is what I cover, is new. It's relatively new. I wouldn't say we're a leader yet, because we're still in development. Trilogy absolutely is a leader in coax solutions. They've been doing this for a number of years, and they've already gotten to that position. My goal is to get our Class 4 power solutions, as well as our macro cable solutions, to that level. Essentially, the expertise in engineering. So we have customers who come to us with complex needs, and these are needs that we have literally decades of experience solving. Also, our innovation and technology lab is second to none. We don't just test our products, we test every aspect of them. Who we are. So in the telecom industry, when I say I work for Marmon IEI, people are familiar with brands in that industry, and Marmon IEI is not one of them. Marmon IEI is a very large division of a very large division of Berkshire Hathaway. So we're 12 cable companies, comprising almost $2.5 billion out of a $12 billion company. You may recognize many of the brands like Vitalink and Exane and Decaron and Comtran. But my goal is that within the next couple of years, when I say I work for Marmon IEI, people are going to understand what that means, and it's going to give us the clout that we should have. So Class 4 is really part of the NFPA 70. So Article 726, it's a Class 4 section that allows for this type of technology, which is also called fault managed power technology, to be used for power in commercial applications. Essentially, it's a pulse power design where the OEM is really the provider of the solution. We're the provider of the cable. And that cable is a UL 1400-2 rating for a UL 1400-1 system, where you're using 18 through 12 gauge cable, and you're sending it up to 2 kilometers away at a very high power capacity, much higher than PoE. So Marmon IEI, I think we've mentioned it with all the Ask the Expert videos, is an expert and a subject matter expert when it comes to harsh environment applications. Class 4 power technology is right now being utilized in areas that are indoor rated. A lot of those areas are DAS or smart buildings, and it's a great application for that. But there's so many applications that are going to, this technology is going to help to excel. Our goal and role in this is really to help adoption into some of those harsh environments. Most of the adoption of the technology has taken place because of the OEMs who are responsible for the design. There is a new association called the FMP Alliance, or Fault Managed Power Alliance. It's very similar to what the Ethernet Alliance has become, that we're looking to get to grow into. And that alliance is doing most of the work now, helping to grow the adoption of the technology, and also working with other industry associations. To learn more about Marmon IEI's Class 4 power solutions and other telecom products, contact us at marmoniei.com or call us today at 1-800-327-7625.